Welcome to today's session of Collaboration Conversations. I have to wrap my tongue around that every time I say it. I have to pause and get it right. I love the name, but I struggle to get it out sometimes. So, good morning, everyone. Glad that you are watching this whenever you're watching it. We're here on Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings, Central Time. So, I'd like to welcome, first of all, my co host, Pearl Cox. Welcome, Pearl.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here as always.
And we are looking forward to interviewing our guest today, Miss Carol Henderson. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's dive right in because we've got a lot of ground we want to cover. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about with Carol today is she is just launching a new book. And we want to give a shout out about that book today, but we also want to use that as a springboard to talk about getting your book out there, to talk about what it takes to knuckle down and write a book and get it published. That is a feat to be proud of. And so, Carol, reach back and give yourself a little pat on the back there. So, yeah, it's exciting when you're writing a book. It is frustrating. It is a whole lot of things. Pearl, you've been involved in bringing folks together to write books. Let's talk about a little bit of those kind of those emotions that someone goes through when they're writing.
I think the first thing is people start to question themselves and think, can they write a book? And once it's almost like dipping your toe in the water and just saying, yes, I'm going to do something. And as soon as you make that commitment, it's so much easier because then the process comes in. You have a time, you have a schedule, a calendar that you're going to get things done. And it's just deciding that, yes, I'm going to be an author. This is when I want my book published, and just go and almost working backwards from there. But all the time, so many people wish and say, oh, yes, they'd love to be an author, but they do nothing about it. And all the time you do nothing about it, you're never going to be that author because you haven't made that move.
Yeah, you've not made that commitment, right? It's like anything, it's a commitment. Carol, what was it like for you to make that commitment? What was it like when you decided you were going to do a book? You were
Well,
going to write a book.
I had helped my husband write one and get it published, but that was a while ago, and that was his writing. I just kind of did some of the layouts and some of the tweaking and stuff, you know, accuracy dates and things like that. And so that was a lot easier than this. This has been an interesting journey with it being mine. But it goes back to start with the end in mind. You've got to have that end in mind of, this is my book, this is what it's going to be about, this is what I want to bring to the table and to people, and then go from there. And, the biggest part is having collaboration with these two ladies for me, and that's one of the things I've got to say, that Regina is just a master at putting people together that can work together. She put me with Pearl, she put me with some other friends, and she does a mastermind class that I'm in, and those women have all gathered together, and Pearl's part of it too, and brought us all together, and helped us to, and there's one of the girls there that I'm doing lots of collaboration with, and so we've really been having fun with that. So that kind of bunny trails off your question, but
yeah, that collaboration is so important, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And so fun when you get them going. I mean, Pearl and I have a blast working together.
Yes, well, that's, Barbara and I are having tons of fun, but there's a saying, and I can't remember for sure. I think it's Stephen Covey, but it may not be. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go well, go deep, take people with you, and go with friends. So that's what
Absolutely.
This is.
Yep. So oftentimes when Pearl and I are together, or other folks that I do things with, Pearl and I especially, I think my husband will say later, there was an awful lot of laughter in there. Are you sure you guys were working? But
My husband calls all this stuff my hobby. So
your hobby. But we don't want it to be your hobby, right? This is your business, right?
it is. It is.
So
But if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
yeah, it should be enjoyable. Absolutely. Absolutely. But a hobby doesn't get the dedication that a business gets.
No.
That comes back to the book. To be a published author, you have to dedicate some time and energy. You both talked about deadlines and how important it is to have that end in mind when you start so that the project doesn't take forever. I didn't do that with my first book. And it took me a couple of years to get that first book written. And, once I got it written and had that published author, bestseller, international bestseller, it just inspires you to want to write more. But it's such a great feeling when you get that, when that happens.
Well, but I want to say something too, is when you have a deadline in mind and it doesn't happen, which happened with this one a couple of times, and Pearl and Regina know all about that. You have to forgive yourself, and you have to go on, and you have to say, okay, I'm going to pick it back up. Life got in the way. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll go on.
It's not a failure, is it?
No.
It's not a failure no.
No, just a little bump in the road.
Yeah. What would you say about that, Pearl?
Well, I completely agree, because everyone that knows, when I've been talking about my book collaboration, I was really ill before Christmas, and I may as well just write off the last 3 months because I just wasn't up to it. And I had deadlines, and I told everyone these deadlines are going to work, and I couldn't even complete what I needed to do. And then I made that decision that I was going to push the deadline. Yes, it will still be published this year, but I'm not going to force myself to go through rings that will make me iller to make it to fit a certain date. Whereas if you know it's going to happen, you also have to be kind to yourself. And sometimes that's the biggest learning curve, because as business owners, we feel we have to deliver, that we've set a date. But as long as we keep people aware that, yes, there's going to be a delay, and explain why, most people understand that. And as well, if you've taken that date, yes, we talked about everyone involved with it, but the public, our audience, didn't know a date. So it doesn't matter really, as long as once you're ready, you have that in place when you are going to share the launch date and everything. To the audience, it doesn't matter, because it's just at the perfect time that's needed, because the universe comes together and helps us bring the results that's needed.
Yeah. So true. So true. One of the things that I'm thinking about, Carol, that you commented, that there were difficulties meeting your deadline. And as a solopreneur, let's talk about some of the challenges being a solopreneur when you're trying to do a project like this, that the technology is new, processes are new for you. How important is it for you to find resources that can do the parts that are not your bailiwick? They're not your strong suit. How important is it in the operation of your business for you to be able to devote time and energy to building your business, to be able to farm that out to somebody who knows what they're doing on it?
I would say priceless. And I tend to try to do as much myself as I can.
Most of us do.
And, and I think that's part of the entrepreneur of us. But, one of my struggles is I used to do a lot of this stuff in the past, and I had all the latest software and the latest technology. Well, I closed my brick and mortar. I sat on my porch at the lake and looked at the lake for a couple of years. And Regina asked me, she said, so what do you do? I said, I'm semi-retired. And she goes, you've got to quit saying that, because your brain's focusing in on the semi, or on the retired and not the semi. So I've had to quit saying that. I've had to get back fully engaged, and do it. But then find the people that can help. Just, even like with Keith's book, I I helped with so much of it. And so I thought, oh, I can do this. But his was published back in 2017. Things have changed.
Just slightly.
Yes. Yes.
Just slightly.
And so, just even little things about formatting or finding just people to help. And Regina's daughter is fabulous at that. We actually even had to call her in on something the other day, and she goes, "Oh, that's easy. Here." Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Okay. But everybody
If you
has
say
their,
so.
yeah, everybody has their strengths.
Exactly.
And so, it's like a marriage. You don't want to marry somebody just like you. You want to marry somebody that completes you. And that's where this collaboration comes in, is finding people, that can put things together and help you and help you to move forward for your best. And, it's so much fun to me to find women that are not competitive. In this one group that we're in, that all three of us are in, it's not me against you. It's not,
No.
if I help you, I will be less. It's totally, because how many billion people are on the planet? There is
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
And, we haven't even reached 1% with
No.
any business. I don't think any business has reached 1% in the world. So there's enough out there for everybody.
Absolutely. I want to go back to something you said, and I want us to enlighten folks a little bit. So you talked about being semi-retired, and that you and I had talked about that. Why was I telling you needed to stop focusing on retirement?
Well, I retired because I closed a brick and mortar business due to some actually natural disasters here in my area. And it totally changed my focus. I had a model and talent agency back in the day, and loved it. It was fun. Loved getting to mentor a lot of all ages, 4 years old up to, I think my oldest was 78. And
Oh, wow.
so, yeah. So I did a wide wide group, age wise, but in small areas, that's pretty common. You can't just do children because there's not that many children, or you can't just do,
Right.
Whatever. And so, I live 45 miles out of that town, and I had driven in every day after my husband had retired due to an injury. And so when you live at the lake, and it was built as the lake house, it's hard to work. It's like, my son one time said, "But Nene doesn't make us do anything when we're here." And it was just Keith and the boys up here, and he says, "But I'm not Nene." And it's just changing that mindset. It's changing that mindset of, this is home now. This is not a getaway. I mean, we named it Refuge, but so it is a getaway, but it's not a sit on the sofa, eat bonbons, and watch soap operas by any means. And
But you had a new mission come into your life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure what you were asking for.
Yeah. I want you to talk about why you were no longer semi-retired. What brought you back out? What was so important that you would come out of sitting at the lake looking at the water to take off that semi-retired hat and say, I'm going to go do this. This is important work in the world that I need to do.
Okay. Well, I've always had a leaning towards health and wellness and helping people to be healthy. And it goes back to my husband and why he retired. He had broken his back. They had him on 18 different prescriptions due to some damage done after the surgery. They fused his back. They said he'd never get off of them. Then he had 2 heart attacks due to the pain from that. And so that put the number of prescriptions up to 25 or so.
Wow.
Over the course of the 25 years that, we dealt with that, I learned a lot, and I slowly weaned him off of those medications. And I mean, some of them were horrendous. One made his skin peel off like a blanched peach. And, he couldn't even put his hand in his pocket to get the keys out because it would peel the skin. And that's real fun when he forgets and puts the keys in his pocket in public. I'm having to dig it out. That's not a good look. So anyway, because I had gained these skills, and even at the modeling agency, the parents would say, go see what Carol has, and if she can get you well, if she can't, I'll take you to the doctor. But it's just a natural way of doing. And, so I've worked on that for several years. And, Regina has helped me to launch back into that more as a business as opposed to just giving to the community. And then this year I have learned so much more about intermittent fasting and autophagy. And you'll start hearing that word autophagy more and more. Most people know about keto or ketosis. It's very common. It's a buzzword, but autophagy is the new keto as on that thing. And it's a step further. Most people cannot get into autophagy. And because it's a total restriction of calories, fats, proteins, and carbs. So it
and I take it your new book talks about autophagy.
It does.
And explains that.
Yes, it explains it, and what it does is it takes your bad cells and helps you to replace them with new. So it's almost like the fountain of youth. So
wow. What's the name of your new book, Carol? Would you like help with that?
Now that's called a brain.
Me trying to say the name of the group in the beginning.
I was. To fast or not to fast? Timing is the question.
Timing is the question. Yeah. So, and it talks a lot about intermittent fasting, and that certainly was a question for me, a buzzword I was starting to hear. Mm-hmm. It's like, what does that really mean? And so your book really explains all of that, right? And helps people understand fasting, intermittent fasting, this autophagy that you've mentioned is all explained in your book.
Well, and we're the first generation, really, that has ever had 24/7 access to food. Think about it. Even our parents, I mean, in my lifetime, they started having 24-hour restaurants, 24-hour drive-throughs, grocery stores that are open 24 hours. Yeah. Just the fact that you can go to the grocery store in most countries and find food. Before, you had to grow it, you had to can it, you had to, and it wasn't a constant eating. People would go out in the fields and work all day, maybe eat an apple while they were picking it, but they didn't consume massive quantities 24/7.
Yeah. And a lot of times we walk through the kitchen, and every pass through the kitchen, something goes in our mouth.
And our health shows it. Our body never gets to clean itself out.
Yeah. Oh. Pearl, we want to hear more from you.
I've loved listening. I mean, I've got a few questions for Carol because I'm coming with my communications head, and I've already
Excellent.
Thought that title that you gave us. It's wonderful. It's the sort of thing that everyone remembers, and you can literally see a whole series to grow from that. So this first book, notice I'm already putting forward that you're going to be writing more books. This is the foundation. This is
That's right.
That people will start to learn from. And every time I've spoken to you, your passion about what you do, that is what comes through every time. And it's saying to anyone listening to this, whether you're catching it now, whether you're catching the replay, as Carol said, ketosis is a buzzword at the minute. And because it's a buzzword, you get people that jump onto this bandwagon that do not have the knowledge. Whereas Carol knows this subject, the whole wellness, nutrition area inside and out. and this is what her book covers. It will go into far greater detail. And this is why Regina and I are making sure that everyone knows that Carol has this book available, and that you do stand out with your knowledge. You are an influencer and a thought leader around this area. And how did you choose that title? Because it's wonderful. I just love it. It's the sort of
I love it too.
Well, one morning I was getting up, and then that little nether realm between wake and sleep, that popped into my head. I'm like, oh, I think that sounds good. And it's an unusual
Inspiration.
title. Yeah,
Inspiration.
it's an unusual title, and you're right. It's different than all the others. Of course, it also is different enough that people that don't know anything might not know anything. It might not draw them. So I'm glad to hear what you're saying, Pearl, because you are the wealth of knowledge in that area. And I didn't even think about running the title by you.
It's so wonderful. And you might find that you then as we start to share this topic and the title, it's almost the underlying subtitle about what's involved. That then becomes that push, that becomes the marketing slogan the tagline that everyone starts to pick up on. And they will realize, like the fact that you've said, now tell me again, what was the one word that you used? Because does it begin with T? This is menopausal brain. I can't remember exactly what.
We need to work on that. Are you saying autophagy? Is that the word?
That's because I got the autophagy, but I couldn't remember. So it's what
it took me a while on that one too, Pearl. That was a foreign word to me, and it took me a while to get it into my vocabulary.
What it is, it has the two parts, autophagy, and it means self-eating. Wow. And it's your body breaking down the bad cells, like the C cells that everybody breaks them down. Your body will keep the good pieces and make new cells, but it'll throw out the damaged bad pieces. But it can be,
awesome.
There's so many parts of your cells where they're wrongly folded proteins and stuff like that, but that will cause disease, which is dis-ease in your body. And so, as your body gets healthier, think about it. You are more at ease, less pain in the joints, less, that the fibromyalgia that's all over the body, that's really just soft tissue damage. It's basically arthritis for soft tissue, just like arthritis is bone. We think of bones, but fibromyalgia is basically an arthritis of the soft tissue. And so all those little things that cause your body to be in dis-ease.
And I think as well, this is what so many people don't realize. And I think where we've been in lockdown this last few years, it's taken people time to look back and see where they are and what they can put right. Because from my corporate side, I've always thought stress is a good thing. It's almost you wear it like a badge of pride to say, oh, yes. I'm being stressed. But then you don't realize the more you have stress in your life, the more it starts to show in physical symptoms that can become an illness. And everything you've just said, I think everyone, specifically as we're on LinkedIn, anyone in business needs to understand this and see get your book to see how do they put it right and fully understand how their body works. Because yes, you get the buzzwords that everyone jumps on, and they won't be qualified, and they will talk about a subject that they aren't qualified. They don't have the information behind it to back it up. And then unfortunately they might give other people in the same industry a bad name because of the way they come across. Whereas everything you've said, just listening to every question we've asked you, you have got such a depth and breadth of knowledge. Literally, you've got the potential for a book or a podcast or everything on every single topic that we've spoken about, and that makes a difference. And so everyone listening, share this into your network so that everyone gets to hear the truth, and gets to learn what they need to do. Let's take away all these people that just jumping on the bandwagon that don't really have that true voice, and let's put these influencers like Carol front and center so everyone gets to understand what the true message is and they can learn from that.
Well, thank you.
Love
Thank you.
that.
My daughter-in-law had said that I needed to do a book, and then she said, no, it's going to be a series, and of all the things I had tried, good and bad, and what, over this 25 plus years. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You cannot witness the kinds of things that you've witnessed with your husband and his health and then his healing without becoming passionate about helping others in the world. And that's what I see in you, Carol, that the journey that you've been on has created a level of passion for helping others that caused you to come out of semi-retirement to be able to go out and help people. And this book is just one of those steps of you helping others. And it, folks, like I said, I'd heard of intermittent fasting, but didn't understand it until I read Carol's book. And then I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. It really makes sense of that. And with the autophagy piece in there as well, it makes sense of all of that and why her subtitle is Timing is the Question.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a huge piece of how you successfully do intermittent fasting for your health.
well,
And
everybody,
yeah.
well, I'll say most people, sorry, I interrupted,
No,
but
please.
most people do a form of intermittent fasting because they sleep at night. So unless
Right.
you're snacking in the middle of the night, you're doing intermittent fasting. It's not the optimal for
Right.
doing your body, but most people know that when you sleep, your body repairs and it
Right.
cleans and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
why little babies smell so wonderful first thing in the morning, because their little bodies were cleaning. And if you
Love
notice,
that.
it's a stronger smell than during the day. But autophagy is so outstanding. It won the Nobel Prize in medicine and physiology in 2016. But it's
Wow.
just not, the doctors and the healthcare in the U.S. is second to none for injury care. You get hurt, they can put you back together 9 times
Right.
out of 10. As far as wellness, I don't think any of the mainstream Western medicine focuses on wellness.
I don't think they're taught that in school.
They're
I
not.
don't
They
think
get
they're
1
taught
hour
wellness.
or 1 afternoon of nutrition a day. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
a doctor. So,
Right. Right.
but that's the
Yeah.
statistic used to be. It may have changed because a lot of people are coming to the table. Doctors are starting to move more into the natural because our food is not as healthy as it used to be. It's not.
And probably less healthy all the time.
Well, just the statistics on that in 1975, a bowl of spinach. So think, if those of y'all that
Yeah.
are old enough to remember 1975, you take a bowl of spinach in 2000, which was almost 25 years ago now, which sounds crazy. But that 25-year span from 75 to 2000, 1 bowl of spinach would equal 30 bowls of spinach.
From a nutritional
Yeah,
standpoint.
from a nutrition. Yeah. No, how many of
Absolutely.
you can eat 30 bowls of spinach to get that
Yeah.
1 bowl of nutrition?
Popeye, I'm not.
And they'd have to
Some
have
of
been
you
around
are
in
too
75
young
to
to know.
remember Popeye.
Some of you are too young to know who Popeye was, but look him up.
Oh yeah, it was a great time. It was a
Google Popeye.
But there are ways to get the nutrition in your life.
Yeah.
And another misconception is that it's expensive to be healthy. And it truly isn't, because you're going to pay in bad health if you continue to live on
Yeah.
ho-hos and Twinkies.
And it's
Pearl,
all,
what were you going to say?
was going to say, I can see, I'm going to go back and use the word mirrored again. When you look at it from a business perspective, you're either reactive or proactive. And this is where we can take it back to the whole health and wellness idea. That currently our health, I think health across the world is reactive, that because we don't put the right things into our body, we don't look after ourselves properly, that dis-ease comes out, and then reactively the healthcare areas, they literally have to put us right. Whereas if we took control and said, no, I am going to look after my health so that I am always in peak fitness and health, you stop being reactive then. And it takes that pressure away, because it's almost like we're told about the self-fulfilling prophecy, where you start to see, you mentioned the C word and those cells and everything. People grow up thinking, oh, you mustn't do this, or I'll get this, or I'll get this. But all your mind, all the universe is thinking is, I'll get this, I'll get this. Whereas if you take in everything that Carol is saying and the areas she specializes in, if you take that information in, you aren't doing that self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you are, it's for pure and perfect health. And I think that's a massive message to understand, and to take it from the business perspective. Take that and you can put it in all areas of your life and see and make sure that you're proactive and not reactive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sage counsel. Very good. Very good. Carol, we've talked about your book, and I know that we're in the pre-launch phase on your book. It's not out there yet, but it's coming to Amazon very soon. And I'm sure it will be a bestseller when it gets there. But today you have an offer for folks that they can order before it launches, right? Will you tell us a little bit about that? And while you do that, I'm going to grab the link for that so that we can put it across here and people can see that.
Okay. Well, it is a Kindle version, an ebook of my book. Everything's there. And we're doing a pre-launch for $5. And I'm very excited about it. And, they're going to put up a link where you can order it today. And as soon as it releases, we will get that to you. Hopefully the release will be, it's like imminent. I'm just waiting for them to call and say it's done. I mean, not that they call, they email, but
minor details left. That's it. Right?
It's done. Just waiting on the final, and then the paperback will follow right behind it. It takes a little longer on those, but we're excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's see here. All right, show that. There we go. There is the link scrolling across the bottom. So you can grab your discounted, it's not really discounted, it's a pre-launch price. Mm-hmm. So it's not that she's dropped the price, but the price is going up at launch. So this is a pre-launch price of $5 for the Kindle version of it. And then shortly we'll have Kindle, and there's going to be an audiobook as well, I think, Carol.
Yes.
And then there'll also be at least a paperback. So that is coming soon, but grab your copy now. Don't wait. Get healthy today.
Every day. Yeah. Every day you wait is a day that you have less health. That you can stop disease in its tracks and many times back up. You can reverse the aging process in some areas. In fact, most areas, if you really, really get into doing things. But, you don't have to get any older. You can stop now. And that's what's exciting, is to be able
what a thought that is.
Well, a lot of people today are not getting any older, but we don't want to do it that way. We don't want to do it that way. But to still be here on the earth and
be here and enjoy that not getting older.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. When you're in dis-ease and your joints hurt and you struggle to get out of the chair, and every time you eat something, it upsets your stomach, and you can't hear and you can't see, and you have no
Not
energy.
fun.
That's not a fun life.
That's
That's
not a fun life.
and that's what's
Yeah.
been so much fun about my husband. He used to sleep till 2 and then get up. I mean, then go back to bed about 7. And so he wasn't up much. And then, up and down all night, just the pain. But now, I
Yeah.
mean, we now have chickens. Yes, there I mentioned my chickens. And so we have a little homestead we put here. He's out working with the animals, building fences. Having a garden so big that our
Active
relatives
life.
won't handle it. We had to have it the first time breaking up this first time broken prairie, to see the changes in him.
Yeah.
And, and he's tired at the end of the day. But like he said, it's like new levels. It's like, I'm tired, but I'm doing so much more. And
Yeah.
this has gone on, 25 years on the drugs. In about 2012, 2012, we got him off the walker and out of the wheelchair. We had a wheelchair for out
Wow.
in public. We didn't use it often, but if there was going to be a lot of traveling around, he often had to use the little scooter at Walmart. And so, that to rototilling is big change.
Big change. What were you going to say, Pearl?
I was going to go back to this phenomenal price. And I'd say, don't just buy one, lock in these fantastic discounts, buy them as presents for all members of your family.
What a wonderful idea.
And share it, because as we've said, this so often people start talking about nutrition and it becomes gender specific. So often it's all about women thinking we have to be a certain size, we have to look a certain way. And Carol shared the example that she's helped bring health back to her husband. So this goes across. This isn't gender specific. This is for absolutely everyone. If there's someone in your life that maybe they've had COVID and it's affected their health, this book is going to help them see how to start to put that in a positive way and start to get back to that pure and perfect health once more. Yes. So see this as a gift, pay it forward to as many people in your life that you feel will benefit from it.
Awesome. That's fabulous, counsel. And folks, I do want to remind you, this is a pre-launch. So what you're doing today is ordering the Kindle version, and then the moment it gets published, Carol will get that to you. Okay, so that's what you're doing today, is pre-ordering for when it is published. And that is, like we said, that is just around the corner. There's just a couple of last minute details taking place on it, and it should be on the market very shortly.
I'm excited.
Yes. And if people start to think, we've got some key dates coming up. Now, here in the UK, it's not long and it's going to be Easter, because we've got our pancake days either today or it'll be next Tuesday. So
pancake days.
Do you Shrove Tuesday, where you eat all the stuff, all the pancakes, so that then you begin Lent the next day.
So okay, gotcha.
But think about this. You will have time at Easter where you'll be going within and thinking of certain things. Take that time to read this book. Make sure that you lock in the price and you pre-order now, so that when you've got that time free, you can put time on yourself and just learn and then take it forward. I mean, just think, if you do that, just think if you implement everything that Carol shows you in her book, 3 months from the date you start reading, you won't recognize yourself because you have started in place. Or you could completely ignore this and then 6 months later, you'll still be feeling ill. But I'd say move now, lock in this price and know that you are now starting your life afresh. You are starting this in a really healthy way and understanding things. Because once you have that foundation, that groundwork, it's so much easier to work with this. And also, this is LinkedIn. This is where we network. This is where we connect with this phenomenal lady, because we've already said this is the start of the series. If you're connected to Carol, you're going to know when the next book's coming out, when she's sharing her wisdom next. So make sure you reach out and connect to her, because then you're going to hear exactly what's happening and you're going to be the first in the know.
Thank
Awesome.
you, Pearl. One other
Fantastic.
thing, when you talk about dates that I want to bring up, if you start this now, you'll be ready for the beach. Now, I don't really see the three of us wearing bikinis, but there are times that we need a swimsuit. So, at any age, at any,
Yeah.
body size, you can look your best in, whatever you're wearing. So the beach is, it's not much further off than Easter. So
That's true. Very true. Carol, if you could give us, first of all, we're excited to help share this with the world and get this information out there. It is needed, and I firmly echo everything Pearl just said about be proactive about your health. Take this action. This is a simple, easy action that anyone can afford. Go out and get this copy for yourself. But Carol, let's come back for just a moment to this whole process for you. What's been the biggest takeaway for you as you've gone down this road of creating this book, of getting this message out there, everything involved in that? What's been your biggest takeaway?
I would say, don't set your deadlines too close. Give yourself grace. Reach out for help, because there are women out there and men. There are people out there that know more than you do about the how to. But also, if you have an idea, especially like an idea for a book or for a business, go for it.
Take action.
Reach out, do it. If you've got that entrepreneurial spirit in you, you're not going to be happy sitting on the porch looking at the lake. So, it is definitely, my company name is Life by Design, and you get to design your life. You get to design it. No one else. Your husband can't design it. Your children can't design it. Your parents can't design it. It's you. You make your choices, and you live or die by those choices. And by the words of your mouth, Pearl was talking about the thoughts. A thought becomes a habit, or becomes speech, and it becomes a habit, and it, becomes a legacy. So, watch what you're thinking and what you're doing, because every moment of the day you're making a choice for good or bad. Do I speed through this yellow light, or do I stop? The consequences could be great.
Yeah,
depending
absolutely.
on,
Absolutely. Thank
life
you.
is a yellow light.
Life is a yellow light.
Make your choices.
There's so many directions I could go with that.
And there are so many directions people can go in life with that yellow light.
Exactly. Yeah. Pearl, final pearls of wisdom for today.
Every time you start to write a book, once you have that content there, that's just the start. You can reuse that content and repurpose that content to build your brand and grow. And then you just see your whole work-life balance will spiral into perfection. And it starts with a book and sharing your knowledge, and it's taking action.
Absolutely. I love that. You can see, folks, why I am thrilled to be able to do this show with Pearl, and to be able to bring other folks on and share their wisdom and their knowledge with you, and to have these collaboration conversations. We don't do it alone, right? Doing it alone is a lonely, lonely way to do it. We do it with others. We embrace what others can bring into our lives. So I encourage you to have those collaboration conversations with people around you. Look for those opportunities, and join us every Tuesday and Thursday as we discuss collaboration conversations and how they can change our lives. So thank you both for being here today. Thank you all for watching whenever you're watching this. And Pearl and I will see you on Thursday at, I believe, 11:30 Central.
Thank y'all for having me.
We'll be back. Thank you for being here, Carol. We appreciate you very much. All righty. So bye for now, everyone.
Bye.